is Fox 10 Talks. New developments in the high-profile trial of Ian Mitcham, charged in one of the most talked about murder cases here in the Metro Phoenix area for many, many years. A case that dates all the way back to 2015 and the killing of Allison Feldman. So we have that coming up for you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Ron Hoon. This is Fox 10 Talks. We've got 2 hours of information, conversation coming your way. Here's our first chance to roll out the poll question. It's already tomorrow in Australia. It's kind of crazy with the international dateline, but it's already Wednesday over there. So it's now going into effect. Australia banning social media for users under the age of 16. Should the U.S. follow suit? 20% are saying yes, kids and teens can't handle social. 60% saying no more government regulation. Parents need to just do their jobs. And another 20% say, since when do we follow what Australia does? You can grab that QR code, and we will watch to see what's going to be unfolding with that poll question. I got a feeling we're going to get a lot of votes there and also on YouTube. Yeah, take a look at that. We launched it a half hour ago, already closing in on 500 votes. So let's talk a little bit about this case, which took an extended break. Our Trenton Hooker joins this morning. Hello, Trenton.
Hey, Ron. So just for the record, I think I'm more on the camp of since when do we care what Australia thinks?
Oh, let's go back. You're eligible to vote if you want to grab that
no
QR
matter what
code.
the question is, I think I'm about there. So
there you go.
All right. Good to be with you.
Yeah, Syleste will be joining here in about 2 minutes, but let's jump right into it here. First of all, why was there such a long delay? And then why is court not one day and now court's off again?
Right. That's been really the roller coaster of this case. So when we originally talked about the schedule, we had former Maricopa County Superior Court Judge Mel McDonald on talking with us, and he just was shocked at the fact that a case of this magnitude, where this is the first capital murder case where they're using familial DNA, kind of a benchmark case, if you will, certainly for the state, that you would kind of put it on this schedule where, we're on for 2 weeks, we're off for 2 weeks, we're back for a day, and then we're out of court, and then tomorrow we're going to be back in court, but we have Christmas and obviously New Year's coming up. So that's a lot for a jury to kind of get these important forensic details out of sequence.
Try to remember them all. I mean, there's so many details, and now they've been off for 2 weeks. Is it more to the discretion? Did the judge have some other duties?
100%. So certainly for today's proceedings, while that was out, the judge did have another case. So that's the justice system in Maricopa County. Quite the backlog, I guess.
Oh, well, all right. Okay. So I'm going to roll some sound here from what we heard in court yesterday. You and Isabella have been doing a great job of the coverage, but let's listen to some of what was being said yesterday, including the description there, from a forensic standpoint of what it was like actually going to the scene of the murder.
Initially, you got smacked in the face with a chemical smell. It was so bad that we had the doors open trying to air it out. But for most of that first night, I had to wear a filtered mask because I couldn't breathe in there while I was documenting.
There was no unknown DNA that came back to a male or a female found in the home that we collected and had tested at the crime lab. The only unknown at the time was PMH, which we eventually have discovered who the contributor of PMH being Ian Mitcham.
Okay, so Trent and I just talking about it now. So first you heard from the forensics investigator, but now we were hearing from the primary detective on the case. Is he the main guy on this case?
So initially that's now Lieutenant Hugh Lockerbie. So initially in the case, he was one of the senior detectives at the scene working it. But then right after 2015, he says he was promoted to be a sergeant on patrol. So he had about a 1.5 year period where he stepped away from the case, then came back as a lieutenant to lead the violent crimes unit. So he was actually in charge of it when he came back, the entire investigation. And that was kind of notable because he says on the stand that there were things that he wanted to go over again, like another neighborhood canvassing, follow up if there were any, loose ends.
And that would have been how many years after the crime?
It was about a year and a half after. So into 2016, into 2017. And of course, he said that there was, I believe, a witness who had saw a person, a man, walking in the alleys, which Allison Feldman's house was also on an alley too. So there's a little bit there. But the notable part during cross-examination, I thought, was when the defense attorney asked him, did you do a mouth swab, a DNA swab, for this pharmacist, this mystery man who they presented during their opening statements, as they said he's the killer of Allison Feldman. So that was interesting. And he said, yes, they did.
Is that mystery man at some point, do they have to reveal it? I know that what you're trying to do is create reasonable doubt in the jury's mind, but at some point, do they have to say who it is they're actually talking about?
Well, yeah, and they've named this guy in court multiple times. Okay. Yeah, which was very interesting because during that opening statement, they said his name. They said he's in Scottsdale, about a year from her house. So, about a mile from where she was living. And again, we have not heard yet that there's any forensic evidence tying this man who has not been charged with a crime to her murder.
Okay, that'll be interesting once I guess possibly they get him on the stand. Now we have an interesting, the beauty of our streaming show here on YouTube. Here's Professor Brent Kleinman, who's watching today. Good morning to Brent. He is a longtime loyal Fox 10 watcher and follower for sure. Here's the question. I know the question of familial DNA already went to court, but what do you think about the possibility the state Supreme Court might rule differently after a possible conviction? Have you noodled that one around for just a minute or so? And I'd be curious to get your input on that, because so far the ruling is, okay, you can let it in. Right. But we all know there's always avenues of appeals, so then it does make you maybe stop and think.
Yeah, well, and the curveball in this case, too, was not just the familial DNA. It was the fact that 3 years prior, Ian Mitcham was pulled over for a DUI case that ultimately he was not convicted on. But, of course, when you do get pulled over for a DUI in Arizona, police often take 2 blood samples, one for the prosecution of that case to bring it to court, the other for the person in their defense if they want to use it. But the hang-up here was that state law says that you have to get rid of any blood samples 90 days after this happens with testing, certainly if it's not brought to court. And in this case, in Ian Mitcham's case, it was still in the Scottsdale crime lab all these years later when they finally connected it in 2017. So the familial DNA was the first match with his brother Mark Mitcham. They got a hit for that. And then the crime lab tested their own sample database, which had this blood draw. And that's where the defense team was trying to argue, hey, this wasn't following state law. This should be thrown out. And the Supreme Court ultimately ruled December 2024, we're going to allow it under the circumstances that this is a capital murder case and the stakes are higher.
I'm no lawyer here, and I know Brent
I only play one on TV.
and neither is Syleste. And here we've got Brent Kleinman in. I think he is a lawyer.
Yes, he is.
He is asking
He's an attorney.
questions like this. So, Trenton, I'm just looking at this just more from a coverage standpoint. You would wonder whether either of those two could be grounds for possible appeals upon conviction. It's a really good question.
It is a great question. And I think that, again, this being such a benchmark in the state where we're kind of a little bit in unknown territory of where it's going to go, there could be some ramifications in the future. And then, of course, too, the privacy aspect of it. I love that question, where we have pretty strict laws on the books in Arizona about your genetic information and how it can be used. And, again, was this an unreasonable search and seizure? Were other constitutional rights violated? Again, I think we're going to see what this jury does and where the appeal possibly could go if there is a conviction, and of course what the ramifications are for other Arizonans.
I'm glad you brought up the ramifications for other Arizonans, because then it makes you think, what are the other types of ways familial DNA can then be used? What other types of cases does this open up a Pandora's box in terms of the types of cases that this will be able to be used in?
Yeah. And again, this is a new frontier, because when this happened, 2017, 2018, that's when the Golden State Killer, the very famous case where he was connected through a public familial DNA database. So again, where Harley Feldman, that's Allison's father, he actually petitioned not only the governor at the time, Governor Ducey, but also the attorney general to get that familial DNA through the process so that Scottsdale PD could work with DPS and test it.
Okay, so 2 minutes left here. What other highlights came out of court yesterday? It seemed like there was quite a bit of emphasis on that forensic investigator.
Yes, so I do have to say this was the first time that at least they're trying to establish that burden of proof where Ian Mitcham was identified in court by a witness. So that
and the witness was the detective.
The detective, yes. Correct.
Okay.
He did point him out in court, which you see right there. And then there was another crime scene specialist. Her name's Bree Davis. She took the stand after him, going, of course, over the scene and what she saw. She had that soundbite talking about the strong smell of chemical bleach that was pretty overwhelming. And I mean, that's quite notable because, of course, we're not talking about your normal household Clorox cleaner that you would, suspect somebody would use to try to cover up a crime. It sounds like from the testimony that we've had from all the forensic investigators that this was an industrial agent that was used on her body to really try to cover up any evidence he was there. Now, what they testified as well is where this is a little complicated, because they'll have a tool like to test for blood, for DNA, things like that. But bleach actually comes up on the specific tool that they're using as a positive.
Oh.
So they're going to get to the meat of where they got his DNA, which they said is all over the scene, outside the house, all around. We're going to have all those minute details come out. But again, this is really the crux of the prosecution's case here.
Well, if they got the DNA from the crime scene and they have the swab from him, that would seem to kind of firm up the case, I guess you could say, as opposed to these other maybe slightly more controversial.
Well, the focus, at least for the cross-examination and what they've really tried to get out of these witnesses is where they collected it.
Okay.
And that's, at least for now, we don't have that clear.
All right. You guys are doing a great job. That's for sure. Celeste, it's both Trenton, by the way, and Isabella on YouTube every day, although today is a day off court.
Well, I think it's interesting, too. Trenton is not only an expert in aliens and UFOs, but he is also an expert in court cases.
Not only that, he's a geographical whiz. He could probably play along on the mystery cam.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. You guys can give us your guesses now. All right, everybody, welcome back. It's Mystery Cam guest time, and we've been talking about all the snow. I just love how as Dean Fazzini in Live Control, Celeste, starts looking around,
yes,
he finds more and more of these communities that are covered in snow. I do think that as far as fake Christmas trees go,
yes,
that's the fakiest one I've ever seen.
What makes you think that, Ron?
Well, I mean, it's a perfect triangle. Come on.
So,
it looks like it's like painted cardboard.
You know what is not fake? I think that's water on the upper portion of this screen. So Darla Nichols says that is water.
I know.
Because she was thinking the same thing we were, Ron, when we went to break.
Darla must be watching on like a 78-inch screen or something.
Oh, I bet she is.
That out right there.
Well done,
so
Darla.
She is thinking New Hampshire.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it could be an ocean. It could be one of the 5 Great Lakes. Ooh, yeah. And we got Brandon saying, it's so cold, it's possible it's North Dakota.
Oh, could be on water?
Sure. I mean, they have, I think the Missouri River comes through.
Okay,
right.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, what do you think?
I'm going to go with somewhere up in the Northeast.
Good.
I'm going to go with like a New England.
Oh, are you? Okay. I'm still thinking Great Lakes. So I am going to go. So now New England is 6 states, Celeste. You know the rules. I have to pin you down on one particular state. Which one do you want? Don't say Vermont. There's no ocean in Vermont.
I'm going to go, where's Cape Cod?
Massachusetts.
Okay, I'll go Mass.
Okay. And I was going to say the great state of Maine, to quote James Taylor.
Okay.
But I think I got to go Great Lakes. So you're saying Massachusetts.
James Taylor is sad, Ron. He's sad that you're not going to quote him.
And he sings about Carolina. But I think I am going to go with one of the Great Lakes states. I guess I'll go with Michigan.
Okay,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, here is
your mystery camera. And once again, the man who's been everywhere knows St. Joseph, Michigan.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Yes, Ron Hoon.
Okay, now the question, of course, is where is St. Joe's?
And let's go ahead and find out also who got it right.
Oh, yes, let's give credit where it's due.
Because we have to say many of you are always right. This is where you're going to hear you're always right, Ron. Nowhere else in life will you ever hear you're always right, but all of you in the chat, you're always right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. There's an Ohio. Paul Humphrey guessed with me with a Mass. Chris said New York. We've got a couple of New Hampshires, and then let's see. Are you the only one who guessed Michigan?
Am I?
I think you are. Okay. Ron, you're always right.
Oh, Celeste, thank you very much. The only other person who ever told me that was my mom.
Donovan also. You and Donovan, Ron, are 2 peas in a pod.
Good. Well, I credit my mom, and Donovan can too. That is about 30 miles north of South Bend, Indiana, the home of Notre Dame. And ladies and gentlemen,
oh wow!
Coming up at 11:30 this morning, we are going to be live with none other than Richard Saenz talking about the angst. Some might even say the anger.
Oh, don't even say it.
Coming out of South Bend, Indiana, that Notre Dame was first. They were booted from the playoffs, and they were high enough ranked that I think they all thought they were in.
Yes, they did.
They didn't even play a game, and they dropped them.
Yeah.
Holy cow. And then what about,
who is this guy? Well, I have to tell you right now, those nuns and the priests at Notre Dame.
Yep.
They're sitting there on they are praying for those people, even though they're angry.
And you get on the nuns' bad side?
That is not a good place to be.
The nuns. You don't want that. So we're going to talk to Richard. We're also going to talk about Sam Levitt.
Oh, my gosh, Ron, don't even tell me.
Show
I know. Did you read the post?
Banquet.
I know. There was like a post I read on social media. I almost cried. I was sitting in my car. I almost cried, Ron.
Yeah.
And my eyes were so watery. I was like, I have my kids in the car. It's like, how am I going to get to where I need to go? And my eyes are so watery.
I know. We talk about it. There's no crying in the news business. But hey, we do always, anytime we get a chance to salute law enforcement for their heroic efforts. We have brand new video in now from the Pinal County Sheriff's Office showing the moments that deputies rescued a lady from a rollover crash. And, in a lot of these crashes, moments make the difference between life and death.
Oh, quick moments.
Yes. Okay, so let's listen because here is that video now in.
To cut the seatbelt, okay? Let's extradite her away from this in case this goes catch.
Wow, and look at him carry her out, Ron.
Look at that.
Wow.
And yet he has to do it squatting down kind of almost on his knees because of the unusual, location of the vehicle. We don't know how the accident happened. But boy, oh boy. I mean, and he's trying to be calm. He's like, I know you're hanging upside down, but I'm going to have to cut this seatbelt off of you. And then she's hanging upside down. You got to protect her head and her neck and all those kinds of things. What a great job by the PCSO, Pinal County Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
That is so scary.
Let's extradite her away from this in case this goes Pache.
We've seen a couple of situations like this, and the other one that we had last week, it did not end so well. The person actually passed away in the crash, but you have these rollover crashes that happen. You remember, Ron, and the Apple Watch sent an alert.
Oh, yes.
To the authorities.
Right. Yeah.
And it was, you may have seen it, like if you drop your phone really hard or you slam a door or something like that, sometimes like your phone or your watch will say, crash detection.
Right.
That's how they found the crash from last week. It makes you think how they found the situation with this, because it looked pretty remote. But my goodness, thank you to those sheriff's deputies.
Right. Okay, so all of those stories unfolding right now. We are going to talk about now, Celeste. What time, just off the top of your head, what day and what time do you think it is? It's tomorrow. I'll just tell you that. What day and what time do you think it is in Australia right now?
I don't know, somewhere in the morning, like 6 a.m. or something.
You're so good at that. We've never played the what time is it in Australia guessing game before, Celeste.
No, we haven't.
But it's 4 o'clock in the morning in Sydney, Australia.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's already tomorrow. Today.
Yes.
It's a little mind-boggling.
Go tell somebody that 10 times.
Well, here's why we're talking about it. There is now that it's Wednesday, there's a new law. I believe it's the first in the world. And they say they have the teeth to make it stick. Children and teens across Australia waking up this morning. Well, not quite. It's 4 a.m. But when they do, they are going to no longer be able to access their social media. Most of the 10 banned platforms, which do include Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok, Kick, Reddit, Twitch, and X. I know all of those except Kick. Say they will comply with the ban using age verification technology to identify under 16s and suspend their accounts. Although they say they don't believe it'll make children safer. There is an argument out there that it should be the parents' job, not the government's job, to get involved in all of this. I just wonder if the idea is going to spread.
This is going to be interesting for the rest of the world to watch, to see how, let's just say hypothetically, and some people say, like you mentioned, it should be the parents' job to regulate this. But if the parents are not doing anything and the children, or at least some of them, are wreaking havoc in the community, is it then the government's job to step in? Well, that's an important question.
Let's see what you, our viewers, think about this. Australia bans social for users under 16. Should the U.S. follow? 31% are now saying yes, kids and teens cannot handle social. 63% say no more government regulation. Parents need to do their jobs and pay attention to what their kids are doing on their phone.
Okay.
And then 6% say, since when do we follow what Australia does?
My brother, that's very true.
Yeah, Trenton voted for that one, by the way. I'm like, you're eligible to vote. You can grab that QR code.
Do you want to go to YouTube? Let's do it because it's very different. 830 votes right now as of 59 minutes. I just refreshed it. Okay. I'll give you some of the newer numbers. 63% say yes, kids and teens can't handle social. 63% on YouTube. 29% say no more government regulation, but parents need to do their jobs. And 8% says, since when do we follow what Australia does?
Wow. Okay. That is fascinating to me. This is one of those days those polls are really diverging. You wonder why. Well, we have 500,000 people that follow us on Fox 10 Phoenix YouTube page, and they're all over the world. Now, the QR code, the reason we like to show that one is it's being voted on by you guys who are watching. because we put it up on the screen and you can grab it. And so that is that sort of explains it. But, Dave looks at comments, Syleste, and he's got a bunch of them.
That's right, I do. I'll read 3 today. 6GH452S5SF says, it was simpler when I was younger. We just chatted online. It was controversial, but I never thought a form of communication would be banned, even though people tried. Turns out you can ban forms of communication. Machinery Man 7197 says, do I agree kids should be off social? Yes. Do I think the government should be powerful enough to dictate that? Absolutely not. And finally, Ranger Geo 85 says, social media and the internet has made all people mean and dumber. They should limit everyone to an hour a day and make people go outside again and deal with life. Really interesting thoughts. Keep them coming, everybody.
Yeah, I like somebody who puts it in plain terms that I can understand. It's making people mean and dumber.
In some ways it is, if you're like constantly moving through the brain rot that you see.
Syleste, that's so true. And I remember when Twitter came out.
Yes.
And I thought, like on Facebook, you had to use your real name.
Yeah.
On Twitter, you can hide behind a fake name.
Yeah, then you become this keyboard warrior,
and
right?
then you can get on there and just spew whatever you want to spew, and you're not responsible for your own words.
Yes.
I don't like that.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I mean, because would you say something like that to their face?
Of course not.
Right?
I
mean, a lot of times, the answer is no.
That's the flaw in this system. But I like what, let's see here. Oh, Jennifer says, my niece and nephew are here from Michigan. They want to go swimming this morning.
I know.
Because it's a little chilly in Michigan to hop in the lake, right?
Yeah, we just had that shot of our mystery camera in St. Joseph, Michigan. This is our new camera, Ron. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know we have a new camera?
Yeah, it's out there by Winslow looking back at
the Peaks. Yeah, it's a Twin Arrows. Yeah. Twin Arrows Casino, I think.
That's so great. Okay, so here's what's coming up over the next half hour. We have the Zoom interview with the man who's been the usher to the presidents.
Yes.
So I think this is kind of like the guy who, when the president comes to Capitol Hill to do the State of the Union.
Yes.
And there's a guy that stands in the back, ladies and gentlemen, the president of the United States. But this is the White House version of that.
Yes.
So every day when President Trump gets up and takes a shower and yawns and walks out into the hallway, I assume he's right there yelling, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Turn around. He's got his robe on. He's just now arising for the day.
We've really been looking forward to that interview, that's for sure. But you are watching Fox 10 Talks, Syleste and I, and a whole cast of characters.
Yes.
Enjoying hanging out with you
We
today.
love you guys. It's so fabulous. We'll be right back.
All right, everybody, welcome back. That is a cool new camera. That is for sure. The first time we put it on the air, I'm like, really? Are we showing paintings now?
Oh.
Honestly, it looked like a painting.
It did, like an Old West painting. Were you looking for the bison or the buffalo?
Yeah.
That would be the first indication.
What was that guy that had that painting style? I think his name was Ed Mel. Does that ring any kind of a bell with you?
Two first names, huh?
Yeah.
Ed Mel.
Ed Mel. Possibly it was Mel Ed, now that I think about it. No, it was Ed Mel.
It is Ed Mel.
Yeah, and he had that kind of style.
He has a gallery, actually, right up the street.
Nice.
Ed Mel Gallery on 10th Street in Phoenix.
Oh, maybe we should find out more about it.
We should maybe bring the curator in.
Oh, there you are. Okay, so let's talk about a few other stories that sure have people talking this morning. And the elf has made his annual Christmas appearance. Syleste, I hope that this becomes a kind of an annual thing here in the Valley.
Yes.
This is the second year that the elf has climbed the spire.
Yes.
Up there in North Scottsdale, right there along Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard.
Yep, at Frank Lloyd Wright and Scottsdale Road. I believe his name is Lloyd.
I know.
Lloyd
the ladies had me guess early in the 6 a.m. hour, like, what do you think his name is? I said, Frank. They're like, Lloyd.
I thought you were going to say the ladies love Lloyd because I think they do. He is large and in charge.
Yeah.
And we have our own Foxy Elf who makes his visit to the North Pole and comes down here to our studios. But Lloyd that you see here, he does everything in a grandiose way.
Oh, gosh.
He is a big elf, kind of like Elf the movie.
Yes.
You know, you have the big elf, the teeny elves, and he's watching over everyone there near the Scottsdale Quarter and Kierland Commons. And even he takes a gander over at the TPC sometimes.
Wow. That's got to be a good view.
And you know what? I don't know if he's so happy taking all that stuff back to Xana. There's some shenanigans going on up there.
Now, the thing that's so interesting about that spire, Syleste, I had multiple conversations with the amazing people at Taliesin West this morning, the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation and everything that they do. And because the spire is not supposed to be there. The spire was originally going to be placed at the brand new Arizona State Capitol over in the Papago Buttes area.
Oh, way back when.
Up above the Phoenix Zoo.
Yeah.
We have, I don't know, kind of a hodgepodge of a state capitol. We have a Senate building and a House building that look like they're like 60s, kind of like, well, okay, if that was the best you could come up with. And then we have the Executive Tower.
Yeah.
And then we have the Copper Dome. I like the Copper Dome, but everything else has got to go.
Well, this is what it's like. It's like you go, we have some really beautiful mid-century homes and neighborhoods here that are built in the 1950s. Right. But sometimes, like when you add on, you have to make sure that you renovate in the right way.
See, that's what it is. It's a bunch of add-ons.
It's a bunch of add-ons.
Right?
Different like sizes. And you're like, what's that building do? And you know what I mean?
Frank Lloyd Wright had this super cool idea. Anyway, I'm talking with them. I want to locate a couple of images of what our state capitol should look like.
Yeah.
Because we have this unique tie-in to possibly
I think I've seen
the greatest architect in American history.
You've seen it, right? You've seen it?
Yeah. But we got to get permission to use those photos.
Oh, we do.
So that's why I'm talking with them. Maybe in the next day or two, but be sure to look for the elf that's not on the shelf. It's the elf that is climbing the spire up there right on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard itself.
Lloyd.
Yes, and that is Lloyd. Okay, so we're really excited now to bring in an expert.
Maggiano's. As does probably our now guest, Ron.
Really? Do we now? Is that what we do? We
do
bring
like
guests.
Pasta?
We bring guests on and ask them their favorite restaurants.
Yeah, because we all love to eat.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to get to a little bit of that in a second.
Yeah. This is J.D. Fryer, and she is joining us today from Banner Sports Medicine. How you doing?
I'm excellent. How are you doing?
Just great.
Yeah.
All right. We're so glad to have you here. And there was this study that came out about orange juice, and it said that I'm trying to remember the specifics, but it activated 1,700 neurons or something in your brain. And it's healthier for you, it sounds like, than we really ever realized before. Did you have a chance to look at that study, and what did you learn from it?
I did. It was a study based on giving 17 ounces of orange juice to individuals for 60 days straight and measuring what happened to their genes. So what they found was this amount of orange juice was actually going to decrease inflammation in the body, and it would create a different gene expression, therefore helping increase metabolic health as well as inflammation, so therefore a more healing effect. Now, you might think it would have to do with what?
Maybe the sugar or the vitamin C or something like
I would think
that.
vitamin C.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we answer that question correctly?
The fiber.
You did not answer it exactly perfect,
Where's our
but
sound effects,
that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here to educate you guys on what's really cool about this study is that most people would point to, vitamin C. I should now uptake more vitamin C from a supplement, or perhaps I need to drink 17 ounces of orange juice, which I don't actually recommend that. The reason they use such a high amount of juice is because they're doing a study and they need it to be quick and efficient, measurable, and so on. But the magical heavy lifter, if you will, is the flavonoids.
Flavonoids.
I thought they were flavonoids.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. So flavonoids, you can think of as it's plant, right? Plant medicine.
Yes.
Flavonoids are like the orchestra, okay? And flavonoids, which you've also heard of, which are in citrus and tea and berries, they are like the string instruments.
Oh, okay.
And flavanones are the bass, and they're only found in citrus.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Because you know what
It
bass
is.
does in an orchestra?
Yeah.
It keeps the steady of the song.
That's
going
right.
Behind the scenes.
So,
Yes.
Can you postulate that? I like to use these kind of words.
What?
She's the one with a master's degree.
Yeah.
I like to act like.
Yeah, I'm like, what does postulate
Could
mean?
you postulate that the benefits might not just be oranges, but other forms of citrus as well, like grapefruit, lemons, etc.?
100%. So grapefruit, lemons, limes. Also, of course, your variety of oranges, not just oranges, like your mandarins, your clementines, your cuties. And there are some herbs, too, like rosemary, that give you flavonoids, but not nearly as much as citrus fruit. Citrus fruit, I
Celeste
did.
right here.
Yes,
We
I
got
brought.
the Celeste's orange. Is that your orange? You bring that in? Or is that Big D's?
It's JD.
It's mine.
Oh, you brought it in.
I did.
Oh, good. Okay,
I have
good.
so many points to make with this orange.
Good. Yeah.
So what my question for you is with the juice, does it matter what type of juice it is? Like, does it have to be fresh juice, or can it be not from concentrate? What is it?
Great question. And absolutely it matters, right? The precision matters. So some commercial grades are going to give you different varieties or levels of flavonoids. It's not something you look at a label and see flavonoids. You see vitamin C. So like a normal RDA vitamin C intake per day would be 75 milligrams for women, 90 milligrams for men. And 17 ounces is like 2.5 times the RDA. So they were giving large amounts of vitamin C, which had some flavonoids within it. But if you were to squeeze your own oranges, you would get more vitamin C as well as flavonoids, because you're going to get some of the pith.
Oh,
And
like the pulp?
not the pulp, the pith. The pith is when you open up this orange, that white membrane, and the inside of the actual peel is the pith. So the actual peel and the pith have the most amounts of
The flavonoids.
flavonoids.
So
Exactly.
when you say peel, you mean the outside?
Yeah, you can actually eat this.
So like when you zest it in certain things.
Yes, chefs love to use it,
zest it.
and it's tasty, but it's also super medicinal because of the flavonoids.
How much zest would I have to eat?
Well, that is a great question, and it's sort of hard to measure. But if you were to consume about a quarter amount, like the size of a quarter, on one serving, that would be a decent amount.
Okay.
You would have to eat probably 3 to 5 oranges to get the amount of flavonoids in 17 ounces of juice. However, it's not guaranteed that that's true. That's a hard measure because of when things are pasteurized or bottled up or processed, you're going to lose some of the micronutrients. You're going to lose some vitamin C. You're going to lose some of the flavonoids because light and processing can change the natural source. So when you, right now in Arizona, you can pick an orange or getting there where you can grab these off the tree. Yeah. That is the best idea.
Really?
Yes, that's when the medicine is at its height. A ripe orange straight off the tree. You can't eat that.
I have to pick some. I have some in my backyard.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. We'll all go over to Syleste after the show today.
Yeah, just don't climb the wall.
So you've answered every one of our questions perfectly. Let me see if I can trip you up with this one. Just a little bit. I'm diabetic. So we actually had orange trees in our last house, and every time I tried an orange, kaboom, there goes my blood sugar. How can you get flavonoids without making your blood sugar go crazy?
Well, the blood sugar, amount of sugar that's in an orange is definitely going to be more than that of a lime or lemon.
Okay.
Right? So there's that option.
Yes.
You're also going to get, if you were to consume the actual orange, you are getting the fiber outside. The juice is eliminating a lot of the fiber, even if you get the pulp, right? So fiber slows down the amount of sugar that the body has to uptake or the insulin response. So protein, fats, and fiber slow down the amount of the impact of blood sugar.
So maybe mix it with some other items like a protein, like a lean protein or something like that.
Ideally, you would always have a protein at most of your meals with a carbohydrate source. And remember, fruits are carbohydrate sources. They're high fiber. Super medicinal, get brain fuel. Remember, the brain only works off of carbohydrates. The muscles only use fuel from carbohydrates. So it's an excellent form of energy. And for a diabetic, I would say making sure that when you eat fruit, that you consume the protein, you consume maybe some healthy fats, nuts, seeds, and so on.
Well, I don't need any bigger muscles than I already have. I'll just say that much
Is that
right
true?
now. So, believe me.
JD is questioning you, Ron.
Hold on.
I don't know about all that. He does eat nuts. He's got a big ice. We sit right next to each other. He's got a big jar of nuts, so he gets a little nutty some days.
We're already out of time.
No
Can
way.
you believe it?
Wow.
No way. We wanted to talk about the gut biome.
Okay, so let me just see what else we have coming up here. Oh, well, you know what? You could stick around for a quick moment after the break. Is that okay? That's the question we want to ask is the gut biome.
Yes.
Which, give us in 15 seconds, what is the gut biome and what are you going to tell us after the break?
All right, the gut biome, microbiome, is the healthy bacteria that lives in your gut. There's more healthy bacteria in your gut than there are cells in your body. And I'm going to teach you some of the best foods to start feeding and nourishing that beautiful garden.
Oh, I love it.
Holy cow. I know I'm sticking around.
Me too.
Okay, we'll be right back with she's a dietitian. She knows what she's talking about, JD Fryer.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Looking at that beautiful shot there. Lots of sunrise. Someone's already hitting the ice. They've strapped on the ice skates.
Well, it's Canada. You can see the flag flapping there in the distance. So, yeah, it's probably a little chillier up that way.
All right, we want to take a couple of quick moments with JD still. We have a few more questions for you. So thank you for hanging with us. Nutritionist with Banner Sports Medicine. Well, let's tackle the idea of the gut biome. And you talked about it being a garden and watering it.
Yeah.
And why is it so important to our health?
Okay, it's so important to the health because it is actually communicating to your brain, which is giving you all the serotonin and dopamine and all the other neurotransmitters that your brain makes. So most of your serotonin and your dopamine are made in the gut. So anxiety, depression, food cravings, and so on. If the brain is starving, it's often because the gut is not getting what it needs. So it's the first domino to fall, so to speak. The gut, then the brain, then the bones.
So what are the most important things to eat to get in the gut to help your brain?
Fiber from whole foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains. If someone says they're gluten-free, fantastic. There's still grains that are gluten-free that give you that fiber. Those are called prebiotics, okay? You can get them from food, only from food. And what that does is it sets the soil, so to speak. I'm just using an analogy, in your gut to be able to be something to be planted. So then you consume probiotics, which is the seed to which things can flourish. It like changes the flora of your gut microbiome. So these are fermented foods. Sauerkraut, kimchi.
Kvass, right? Like beet kvass or something like that.
Yeah, you could do a kvass. Anything pickled, right? But also like kefir, also the correct enunciation is kefir, and Greek yogurt. These are all fermented foods. Kombucha is another one that people enjoy. That will create that fermentation in the gut that you've already got the prebiotics going there, right? Because if you plant seeds in bad soil, they might not take. So you've got to eat your whole foods, your plant-based foods, in order for that fermented seed, if you will, to flourish.
So what are the 2 or 3 or 4 things that you shouldn't be putting in there, whether either eating or drinking?
Did you have to ask that question?
Lower the boom.
Ting, 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 ting. All the sparkles are going off. Yay. Obviously, as our processed, super ultra processed sugary foods are killing off the microbiome. And this one you're not going to like, but it's alcohol. Alcohol kills it.
What else?
Other things, antibiotics, extreme use of antibiotics. And those are definitely going to make an impact on your gut health.
Wow.
Stress, lack of sleep, chronic stress will kill anything, right? So,
Okay. All right, JD, how do people find you? You've been amazing this morning.
Thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. And you can find me just on Banner Sports Medicine, bannerhealth.com.
Just
JD
a fireball. I love you.
Thank you.
We need to have her back.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you, JD.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Sounds great.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, by the way, we're about a minute away from our interview. Oh, hold on here. We're about a minute away from our interview with the White House Usher. Talk about a man who has rubbed elbows with the biggest names in American politics. But first, Celeste, I just had to share this. The baby giraffe has been born at the zoo and now is making her debut.
Oh, look at that face, Ron.
Isn't that fantastic?
Oh, my goodness. And she doesn't have a name just yet, apparently.
Right.
They're going to wait on a name. And her and Mom are going to be hanging out inside of their home, their quarters, so that baby can eat and grow and be strong. And but she's so sweet. So welcome to the world, little one.
Yeah, no kidding. She literally making her debut. And boy, she was running around on all fours, trying to get her balance just right. That was so great. We love the Phoenix Zoo. Oh, look how little she is compared to Mama. Did you see that?
Yeah, she's got a lot of growing to do.
Sure, she's about a quarter the size of Mom. So anyway, we look forward to many years with her at the Phoenix Zoo. Okay, so Celeste and I, we both love history. And we are really looking forward to this interview coming up right now with the, I almost said the Usher to the stars.
Oh, wow.
But what I meant love history. And we are really looking forward to
did you hear that echo, Celeste?
Yes.
Yeah, that's funny.
I almost
I hope you're not hearing us twice, Gary, but this is Gary J. Walters. He is the White House Usher to the presidents as well as to guests of the White House. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We're both just doing great.
We're doing great. We're looking forward to chatting with you this morning. Tell us, what has life been like for you over the last many, many years in having served different presidents over, different political parties and over the decades?
Well, the chief usher and the resident staff of 90 people that support him, we get to live with the presidents and get to know them with our own eyes, our own ears. And our responsibility is to provide them with a home environment in which they don't have to worry about who's going to prepare the meals each evening or what they're going to have on their plates. And we also try and make sure that their privacy is kept just that, private, and provide them with a home. In this book, I'm trying to divide the White House into two entities. One is the home of the president and his family and the behind-the-scenes activities that go on, just like we all do with our own families. And then the other side is the one that you hear on television every night, where it says, "Today the White House said." I've been looking for that voice for 40 years and never found it.
Well, apparently it's not haunted then. At least we can clear that up. The White House does not speak.
So true.
Okay, so who was the first president you got to serve during your time at the White House?
Well, my first 5 years there, I was under the Nixon administration. I was a Uniform Division Secret Service officer. And then in 1976, I was able to transfer into the Usher's office, was hired by Mr. Rex Scouten as an assistant usher. And then in 1986, Mr. Scouten decided to retire, and he recommended me to the President, Mrs. Reagan, to become the next chief usher. And I was the chief usher from 2086 to 2007.
That is just remarkable.
Yeah, Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ron.
That's the Reagan era. We've got some pictures here of Ronald Reagan back in those days. Can you share a thought or two, or maybe a story that maybe we haven't heard, from more during your time with that president, who I think is still beloved by a lot of people?
Certainly. One of the things that I often get asked about President Reagan, where somebody says, well, he was just an actor. No, President Reagan was the same person in his personal life that he was in the West Wing or on television. He was an extremely personable man. I tell a story about him coming through the floor on the first floor, I should say, of the White House, and passing the police officer that stood across from his residence elevator. And he was talking with his staff, and he got halfway down the hall, and he stopped, and he turned around, and he came back, and he looked at the officer and said, "Officer, I didn't acknowledge you when I went past, and I wanted to say hi." And he turned back, got with his staff, and went over to the Oval Office. That was the kind of president that this man was. And he interacted with me personally when the Washington Redskins won their World Series. I mean, not World Series.
Super Bowl.
National Football League Championship.
Yeah.
He got off the stage in the South Grounds, and he had a souvenir football that they'd given him. And he got off the stage, and he was clutching it like he wanted to do something with it. And I happened to be standing at the South Portico, and I held out my hands, and he threw me a pass.
Oh,
that is amazing.
Which
great.
I caught and eventually had a photograph signed by him to the Gipper.
Wow. Gary, you've served presidents, both Republican and Democrat, Obama, Trump, Clinton. What can you tell us about the people behind the scenes? Those men and women, the families behind the scenes. We just get to see who they are in their public persona.
That's right. The public is a little bit at bay from the life of the president when it comes to their home. And that's what the residence staff tries to do, is provide the home for the president, an environment in which they can feel comfortable. They've got their furnishings there. White House is not an easy place to live in. It's rather formal.
Yeah.
But to try and provide those meals that they like, the chefs would find out how the family liked their meals cooked. The pastry chef, quite frequently, the first ladies were telling us that we had to cut back on the sugar for the presidents.
And then she could blame it on the chef.
And,
Right? She's like, honey, it's not me, it's the chef.
Yeah.
The chefs made the same dessert. They just made the portions that they served.
That's a good one. Hey, let me ask you about Bill Clinton. Or wait, I've got Barack Obama here. We also have Bill Clinton highlights. Either one of those, some stories come to mind of two of our most prominent Democratic presidents?
President Clinton, one of the things that I have a warm place in my heart for President Clinton. One of the fine things that I remember is delivering some papers for him one morning, not long after they moved into the White House. It was early in the morning, and I expected to find him in his office. He wasn't there. So I went looking for him, and I found him in the kitchen, sitting at the kitchen table, going over Amy's schoolwork before she went to school and before he went to the Oval Office.
Wow. You know, y'all must be very good at keeping secrets.
We try.
You know, is there?
You don't see tell-all stories. And as I've told many people, I have many stories, and they'll go with me to my grave.
Wow.
Well, by the way, we also have pictures of President Obama here. Maybe we only have a minute left. Maybe you could share a quick story about him. And then what is the title of your book?
The title of the book is White House Memories, but I did not serve President Obama. I left 2 years before the Obama election. And I left 2 years beforehand so that I could give whoever was going to follow after me 2 years to get their feet on the ground and be ready for that change of administration. I left before the candidates were selected.
So, Gary, one last question. We've got about 15 seconds.
Yes, ma'am.
Favorite meal that you remember there from the White House serving? Favorite meal for you?
With the President Clinton, when Mrs. Clinton was gone, he wanted a great big steak.
Oh, when she was gone.
There you go. Well, you know, he had some heart issues. Yeah. She tried to keep him upright. You can't blame her. Okay, well, what a treasure you are to our country, and what a great time we've had chatting with you today. That's Gary J. Walters.
Yeah, wonderful. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for your time today.
And to you, too. Thank you very much.
Thanks again.
What a wonderful interview.
No kidding.
What a wonderful man.
So glad he decided to share all his stories.
Imagine all the people that serve, Ron.
The 11 a.m. hour comes up next.
Have a great day, everyone.
11 o'clock on the dot. The Blondes Who Babble are back.
We're back.
You're going to hang out all week, right?
I am, yep. Ty is missing in action.
Gallivanting.
I know. He's living his best life per usual.
Gallivanting. I still like to say the Blondes Who Babble, though.
Okay. We'll have to maybe kick Ty out. There's an idea. Comes back from a lavish vacation.
You know he's watching.
Oh, yeah. He's in Italy right now in the canals with, he's streaming us. Everybody say hi to Ty.
Hi, Ty.
Hi, Ty.
You having a good day? You've been busy?
Yeah. We've been kind of all over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we're going to talk about one of your stories in the second actually coming up here in just a bit.
Sure.
We want to talk about flu. It's cold and flu season.
Yep.
I know we were talking a couple weeks ago about a newer variant that's come out. I think it's called the K variant.
Yeah. And I feel like there's always a new bit. Like, you just really can't keep up with these numbers and letters.
What do you do to, I guess, stay healthy and try to avoid catching anything like that?
Well, try to stay away from sick people. I also have a 5-year-old who's in kindergarten, so it's a little difficult to stay away from the germs. We do a lot of vitamins, a lot of vitamin C, water. We try to get sleep. But
I feel like sleep is just key to everything.
I know, to everything.
Right?
But yeah, we're not, we don't do anything.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Different.
Yeah. The 2024-25 flu season is said to be, it's going to be one of the most severe in 15 years. That's an estimate. They're talking about at least 47 million people developing flu symptoms, 610,000 people hospitalized. So this was the last one, technically. And 27,000 people died from the flu. So we are going to bring in Dr. Sandy. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Flu is scary. And I say that because I'm maybe like 5-6 years ago, I got the flu and it hit really, really hard.
I remember that. I remember when you were.
I do not get sick often. And I don't know. We traveled for the holiday season and boy, it was rough. It was rough. What are we looking at this year? I know, is it that K variant?
Well, every flu season is different, and this year's flu season is getting off to a slow start. So if it's not too late to get a flu vaccine, if you haven't done so already, it takes 2 weeks to build up those protective antibodies, and the physicians of America recommend that everyone 6 months and older get a flu shot every year. This year is included. Now, you mentioned last year's flu season. It was one of the deadliest flu seasons we've seen in a century. We had more hospitalizations and deaths than we'd had in 15 years, and 280 children died. Now, half of these children had no underlying medical conditions. They were healthy. But 90% of those children that died had not gotten a flu shot. Now, I heard y'all talking about, things that you do to help build up your immune system, getting rest, washing your hands, eating the right kinds of foods. And those are all really good things to help your immune system. But the best way you can protect yourself and your loved ones against flu is to get a flu shot. We know it's safe. It's been around a long time. And the Physicians of America, the American Medical Association, recommends it. And we have partnered with the Ad Council on this public awareness campaign. We also have a fabulous website. It's called getmyflushot.org that answers a lot of great questions you might have about the flu. And it can also tell you where to go in your community to get a flu shot.
Okay, Dr. Sandy, I do have a question because I know that people have debunked my my thinking, but every time I got a flu shot, I would get super sick after the flu shot. Doctors have told me that doesn't necessarily happen because of the flu shot. So is that real? Does that happen? Will the flu shot cause you to get sick?
The flu shot cannot cause you to get the flu. That's impossible because it's made from killed or weakened virus. But that flu shot, when you had those few symptoms, that meant that your immune system was starting to rev up. Your body was making antibodies ready and prepared to fight flu in case you faced it. And so I think it's reasonable to say, okay, I'll risk a teeny bit of a sore arm, a few muscle aches and fever for a day, rather than feeling like you've been run over by a freight train with the miserable mix of symptoms you get when you get the flu. And it is absolutely awful. I mean, I heard you talking earlier. I mean, you missed several days of work, it sounds like, and your partner there on air missed you being there to talk with her.
So I always miss Anita when she's not here.
The flu shot is not going to necessarily mean you won't get the flu.
Nothing in this world is 100%, right. But this is your best bet to build up some protective antibodies to help you get a head start on fighting the flu.
And doctor, I think there's also too, because I think every time I've gotten the flu, it's been like the stomach bug. But is there another, I mean, with the symptoms of just like the cold symptoms, very severe cold symptoms, where you're not going to have kind of the stomach bug that comes along with the flu?
So even when you're getting...
some patients do have some gastrointestinal symptoms with the flu. That can happen. But most of the time, it's more of a cough, a runny nose, dry, just feeling awful and a high fever.
Okay.
I mean, you feel absolutely terrible. I've had flu twice in my life. The last time was when I was an intern during my residency, and I was out of work for a week. You have to be on your deathbed just about to miss a week as an intern. And every year since then, I've gotten the flu, and I have not gotten I've gotten the flu shot, and I haven't gotten the flu since. And I've also protected my patients by not getting the flu. So not only does it protect you, but it protects those around you. And this is a holiday time. We all want to go out and party and be around friends and family. We don't want to have to stay home and get sick because we're sick. And we don't want to give other people the flu. We don't want to make them sick either.
Okay, so let's say we're not getting a flu shot. We have people who don't necessarily want to do that. What can people do to stay as healthy as possible?
Well, I think you ought to do the things you talked about, eat well, try to get plenty of rest, wash your hands frequently. And I also think you should probably stay in a bubble because the flu is very infectious. And if you're around someone who has the flu and you haven't gotten the flu shot, odds are you're going to get it too. Mm-hmm. Now, I can't see you because I'm looking into a camera, but you sound very young and healthy and really vibrant. And so if you get the flu shot, you're going to make lots of antibodies and you're going to stay well. And if that shot's going to work really well for you. And if you get sick, you're going to fight it immediately and you won't pass it to others. So think about people in your life. Think about your grandparents. Think about aunts and uncles. Think about little babies. And you don't want to, and think about people that have had chemotherapy. And I'll share this personal story with you. This year's flu shot has a special meaning to me. My husband is recovering from chemotherapy, so I've gotten a flu shot for him. I have boy-girl twins, and right before Thanksgiving, both of them had little boys, so those little babies are just a month old. Now, during their pregnancy, both of the moms got a flu shot, a COVID shot, and an RSV shot. So mom's protective antibodies did pass over to baby. But now those babies are here. I mean, they are breastfeeding their babies, so they're getting some antibodies there. But we are trying to cocoon them in protection. Everybody who's around those babies is getting a flu shot because we don't want those little babies to get sick. So I have so many things to be thankful for and so many reasons to get a flu shot. And I don't want any of you to get sick. So that's why I want you to get the flu shot. And as I said, the Ad Council and the American Medical Association have put together a great website, getmyflushot.org.
Dr. Sandy, we do have a question in our chat. They're asking how to shorten the flu if you get it. They have a low fever as well.
So if you can still get the flu, even if you've had a flu shot, but it will be less severe. It will keep you out of the hospital and hopefully keep you from dying from flu as well. But there are antiviral medicines available. There are also flu tests that are available in pharmacies. The doctor's offices have it. So what I recommend during this respiratory virus season, if you are getting sick, try to figure out what it is that you have. If it's flu, the best way to ward that off is to get a flu shot up front. But if you have the flu, consider taking antivirals, and you'll need to talk to your physician about that.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, all that advice. Merry Christmas to you, happy holidays, and stay healthy.
Oh, thank you. And Christmas is actually my birthday, so you just said happy birthday to me too.
There you go.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Okay, a few minutes
you.
before we head into break, you had an interesting story. We're not talking about fevers. We're talking about valley fever.
No, I did the trucking story.
I'm sorry.
Is that what? You're good. It's an early morning for us, guys. We get here at 3:30. We're tired.
Just kidding.
I did the truck one.
There was a gentleman who was in an accident.
Okay.
And needed to, let me see if I can play the video here for you. There we go.
Ooh.
So
I didn't see this one. What is
He had to have
this?
surgery on his hand because of an accident, construction accident.
Okay.
And as his body is healing, he realized that valley fever was dormant in his body.
Ooh.
And it started coming out. So as a result, his a portion of his right hand had to be amputated.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have heard that though about valley fever, that it can be, within your body and in your system, and then something triggers it to make it happen. So, oh my gosh.
So they don't know for certain if they've gotten everything out. The entire infection just kept spreading and spreading. And so what they're waiting now is for as much recovery as possible. And then what they will do is
oh my goodness.
I know.
So that's what it started as
that's
right
how
there?
It started as.
Oh
he
my
had
goodness.
the surgery, but his hand simply would not heal as a result.
Yeah, and that's, for it to go in his bones, I think that's a pretty, from just doing stories on it, I think that's an advanced stage, because typically it starts in your lungs and then you get the cough and, then you just take the anti-fungal medication and it typically kind of goes away after a while. But I think once it gets in your bones, that's when it's extremely severe.
Yeah,
so
and they said he'll be on medication for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
That's a big concern that I have to be honest with you. I've done a couple of special projects, special pieces on valley fever, and
it's scary.
It is. And the thing is, it doesn't necessarily hit you during a dust storm or one of the big...
well, no, it takes months and years if you don't even know you have it.
Yeah.
So you could be in that dust storm.
But you could also be sweeping out your garage. I talked to a woman who said she was walking her dog in a construction area. They were building apartments behind her apartment, and all that dust was kicking up. She and her dog both got the valley fever.
Yeah. It can happen anywhere at any time. Obviously, it's more prevalent here in Arizona because we have so much dust.
Yeah.
So, and in the spores.
The one thing we don't have, Danielle, is snow. And let me see if we can
at least here in the valley. Where is that at? That's beautiful.
I'm going to say
going up to Flag,
right? So ADOT's putting out some information, and they want everyone to stay as careful as possible when they're heading up. We've already had pretty decent snow up north. I
think it's going to be melting, though, by Crystal's temperatures that we've seen. Almost 80 degrees on Friday.
But ADOT wants you to know the snow, and we're going to talk a little bit about their tips. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and we're going to come back, and then we have another special guest coming our way. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Before we unveil our special guest for the next segment, I want to finish talking a little bit about the snow. ADOT says know your snow. Do a vehicle check. Have an emergency kit with blankets, warm clothes, food, water, flashlights, shovels. And then check ahead. Check those road conditions ahead.
And I think that preparedness is so important because even being in our position, heading up to Flagstaff one time, we got caught because of an accident, which is very typical. And we had nothing. I mean, our news vehicle, I had like a snack or two, but you don't think
a lot of snacks,
and you don't think about it. I mean, a blanket, water.
Yeah.
You know, you don't think you're going to be stranded for 3 hours.
Batteries, I think, are important too.
Yeah.
A charger for your cell phone. So we are going to switch gears and we are going to chat with Mike Pache.
Drum roll, please.
Yes, how we
It's been a
doing?
minute. How are you, friend?
Yes, doing well,
Merry
doing well.
Christmas. Happy,
I know.
holidays.
We are in the midst of it, aren't we?
We are. You came down from the upstairs. They're in the penthouse of Fox 10 here.
Fancy up
We're down
there.
here in the dungeon.
You have snacks up there. You have a kitchen full
You
of
do?
snacks.
Yeah, no, but we got to provide the snacks. Yeah, so it's you got to provide it.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
there's
you
nothing
guys
up
do
there.
provide it?
Everyone kind
No,
of
we don't
pitches
provide it.
The last
I was
time we
going to say,
brought this,
excuse me, I'll be
Not
back.
yet, yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of Grinches.
What about coffee? You guys got coffee?
Well, no.
No.
You gotta bring your own pod.
Well,
Maybe they're not in the penthouse.
no, it's just a condo. It's just a condo.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You cover a lot of political topics, and
Yep.
that's what you wanted to chat about today. I think number one, Danielle covered this today. So Danielle, you take the lead on this one. We're talking about this is the wrong video. Truckers? No. Google? No. Let's see. We don't have trucker video, so let's put it on Danielle's pretty face and talk about it.
Yeah, so I was more kind of doing a spin-off story of what the Trump administration, Mike, you can get more into that, but basically saying, you know, there's always been a truck driver shortage, but now they're saying there's not really a shortage of drivers, there's more a shortage of qualified, safe drivers. So we went to Knight Transportation, which is one of the biggest transportation companies in the United States, and they have a program where they put you through and really make sure that these drivers are hitting the road qualified. You can be a brand new driver. You can get your CDL certification. If you already are CDL certified, you can go there for classes to kind of keep you updated on. But they're saying, you know, even experienced drivers are still running into issues out there. But another thing they said, too, was it takes everybody. So we, the general public who are driving on the roads, we're just as guilty as making dangerous situations.
Oh, sure.
Because, you know, those trucks can stop. It's their freight behind those trucks that cannot stop. So it takes a little bit of everybody, a cooperation to keep the roads safe. But
What I think is interesting is that the president is weighing in, somewhat making this a political topic.
Right. Because, I mean, they're trying to weed out some of these drivers that shouldn't even have a normal license, let alone a CDL license.
And this, of course, could be stemming from that terrible fatal crash in Florida.
Yes, yeah, where they were able to get it from California. There's other states that have been giving CDLs out, like Colorado, where they're really trying to clamp down as well, where it's hard to believe that some of these people got the CDL when it's hard enough for them to even get a regular license.
And the CDL is so much different. I mean, it's such a huge thing to get. I think those trucks are 80,000 pounds, and it's a lot different than just a motor vehicle.
Yeah, it really is. And when you got to have all that time to brake for the whole load, like you were talking about, it takes some distance and some time.
So what is the administration trying to do? Are they trying to crack down on these certifications or making sure that they're more...
They're trying to put more... not roadblocks, but more ways for them to prove, okay, I put in the time, I put in the hours to get this license, instead of just saying, you know what, here's my resume, I've done this in the past, give me the license.
Here are a couple of things the key actions that are included in this. So crack down on driver safety. They want to make sure that their license hasn't been flagged, that schools are legitimate. English proficiency requirements, new guidance for the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration mandates a stricter enforcement of long-standing English language. In the crash that occurred in Florida, the reports indicated that the driver could not read the signage.
Yeah, and that's a big red flag.
Right. Environmental deregulations, pro-trucker packages, modernizing driver resources, and immigration enforcement as well.
And this will just help the regular drivers out as well to get everything to back to an even playing field more. If you have these people that are just coming in and taking maybe your loads or your time, I mean, that's a big problem too.
And I think too, when we heard all the shortages, especially during the COVID pandemic, I'm sure people were just ready to hire anybody to get these supplies on the road, maybe missing a few safety steps, which they shouldn't have, but just trying to get the workforce built back up.
Yes, yeah, totally.
Let's talk about this next story. You sat down and said it was very fascinating. A family is suing the Royal Caribbean cruise line.
Yeah,
Break down what happened.
It was a vacation disaster, almost now a year in the making here. This happened back in December of 2024. So right now, last December, and they were checking into their cabin. So, I mean, the vacation just started.
They have a 35-year-old man.
Yeah, they had to delay getting in because it was busy, right? So the guy goes and he has this drink package.
Which most cruises do.
Which most do.
Not included, you have to pay extra for a drink package. Is that correct?
Yeah. So he paid for the extra drinks here, but unfortunately he had 33 drinks in a span of less than about 4 hours. Anyway, long story short, he was trying to locate then his cabin. He becomes disoriented, as you can imagine, and security. Then there's a scuffle, and anyway, he unfortunately dies. There was some underlying issues. He had obesity issues that was in the medical examiner's report, but they listed it as a homicide.
Correct. Yeah, it's ruled as his death as a homicide.
So that's where the investigation is going right now, where they're a little bit more rough on this individual. There's so many different factors here, but
I mean, medically, 33 drinks within.
Yeah, and
4 hours.
The thinking is here too. If you have a wristband or whatever that shows that you have this package, I think you also got to go maybe a couple steps further to check. Okay, how many have we served this person too?
Yeah.
I don't think maybe there's a system yet on that.
And I think on those ships there's like tons of bars, right? So there's different levels,
so
different
it's not
bars.
like
so I could hop to your bar
and
get 3 drinks, and then I can hop to Anita's bar and get 7 drinks from her. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. So the family is suing Royal Caribbean, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But
they're suing because they served so much?
Because they overserved.
Because of the scuffle? I mean, we have a lot going on with this.
Yeah, they're doing it on 2 factors. For the overserving, and what they feel is that the security was a little too rough on the individual here. Michael is his name, but it's...
I'm sure changes. This is typically when something like this happens, then they have all the rules.
We'll have a system where they're tracking the room number as to how many drinks.
Sure.
At home, weigh in, because I'd love to hear what people think.
I've never been on a cruise.
I've been on a cruise, but we don't drink alcohol, so we wouldn't have gotten the package.
Yeah.
But you can walk into any restaurant and eat and drink. Alcohol, you have to pay for.
Right.
You can't smuggle alcohol onto a ship either. My dad tried to do that. Yeah. I'm just wondering, we're talking about a 35-year-old man. Is the 35-year-old man responsible for knowing what his limit is? Has he had 33 drinks in one day before and was fine?
Sure.
Were there underlying health issues? Did he start feeling ill? Or, again, is the cruise line responsible? Are the bartenders responsible for saying, because sometimes, we have...
you can tell if somebody's...
have incidents where a local bar can overserve, and they have been found liable for causing or creating or being part of a...
Right. Yeah, and this is harder because, the individual's not going anywhere, right? They're on the cruise, so they don't have to get into a vehicle or anything like that. Maybe they're feeling a little bit, the vacation's just starting. But I think what the cruise ship has in their favor here is that it's just so overly over the top, the 33 drinks, where this individual probably got it at different restaurants, different bars.
I'm sure the defense is going to argue,
was he
you have your...
prior to entering the ship?
Yeah, who knows?
There
right?
are many questions.
Yeah, there's so many questions when the lead up here, but unfortunately for the family and just a horrible start to that vacation.
All around, yeah. I mean, it's bad on all parts.
Yeah.
This is a recognizable face, and that is not the video. So let's see if we can find the video. Jasmine Crockett. Yeah. Okay, VO5 not coming up. So Jasmine Crockett, tell us about her.
Yes, so Representative Crockett entered the Texas Senate race there to be the Democrat representative. It looks like she will get the nomination. She's a pretty big name there for the Democrats.
She's a very big name, not just in Texas. She's very outspoken.
Yes, yeah. One of President Trump's good friends. I joke because she made the announcement yesterday, and she led the announcement off with about a 5-minute montage of all the Trump comments, blasting her. And so anyway, she'll probably go up against John Cornyn, the longtime senator there that's going for a 5th term in the Senate. But it'll be interesting. She's probably going to try to get some of that energy from Beto O'Rourke, where almost beat, years ago, Senator Ted Cruz, only lost by 2 points.
She said the other day, she's quoted in this article, there are a lot of people that said, quote, "You got to stay in the House. We need our voice. We need you there." Crockett told her supporters as she launched her campaign Monday night, and I understand, but we need a bigger voice.
Yeah, so she's taking a gamble here because her district really leans towards Democrats. So she could have been in this seat for a while, but she's rolling the dice here to try to upgrade to senator. So we'll see.
And she's young,
yes,
right?
Yeah, she's young.
She's like in her 30s.
Yeah,
Texas is primarily a Republican state. Democrats have not had much of a lead there in, I think I read it this morning, like 30 years.
Over 30 years. So she's trying to crack it. Beto O'Rourke, like we said there, about 8 years ago almost did it, but we'll see.
Maybe the squad will help her. Is it the quad or the squad?
The squad, yeah.
Maybe they'll help her out.
Do you think she's riding on her popularity right now because she's in the news so much and people know the name. People know the name. And then also we just came off elections that showed that there might be a little bit of movement towards the Democratic side. About 30 seconds.
She's rolling for the 2026 midterms, where it looks like Democrats could pick up a lot of seats on the House side. We'll see if it translates for her on the Senate side, though.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned.
What's going on upstairs?
All right, so we'll be having a little bit of President Trump remarks coming up, 4 o'clock Arizona time.
Okay. Awesome. We'll come up and get some coffee.
There we go.
Oh, wait.
Bring the pod.
You don't have any.
Okay, have a great afternoon, everyone. Des and Ron are next.
Good job, Mike.
Thank you, guys. Yes.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
right, 11:30, and we are continuing on with Fox 10 Talks. It's Ron and Des, and that is a cool view. This is our Dean Fazzini, Des, as you well know, in live control, just showing us this ever-growing skyline and the mountains off in the distance, saying, "Come on and hike me."
Yeah. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Why not go for a hike?
Oh, my gosh. That is a great shot. All right. Dino, good job, everybody. Bella is, both Dave and Bella have been working hard on producing our show. Des joins this morning. We've already had 90 good minutes, Des. And now we are welcoming for the first time, honestly, in many months here on the streaming show, the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, would you look at this early morning? For him, it's early morning, getting up and joining us on the streaming show. Richard Saenz, buddy, how are you?
Oh my gosh, it's my lucky week. I am playing the Powerball tonight because I got to see Richard yesterday in person and get a hug. And now we're seeing each other today here. Hi, Richard.
How about,
2 weeks in a row. I think I should play the lotto too. I'm winning. That's what you call winning, right?
Yeah.
It's great to see you guys. I missed you guys, and it's gonna be fun to talk some sports with you guys.
Yeah, we need to every so often, that's for sure. And we know you live some crazy hours, but there's just so much going on. And I'm gonna pop it right up. We're gonna just jump right. Oh, hold on here. I need my graphics of the playoffs, you guys. Let's see. That is gonna be. Graphic one is, no, that's the from before. We're going to work on that. We're going to get the graphic. But the decision was made on Sunday, Richard.
Right.
Who was going to, there we go.
See it now.
Okay, and there it is.
And I see no Notre Dame there.
No kidding. And so do millions of Irish fans as well. How did this committee come to this decision? And is Notre Dame's, frankly, kind of anger at the whole situation understandable?
I think every year there's a program, there's a school that's saying, wow, we got left out. And it even happens in the NCAA tournament. You saw them extend the number of teams that get into the big dance. And I think this time it was Notre Dame. And I can see why, they lost to Miami. Yes, it was the beginning of the year. They regrouped after that. But when you look at the head-to-head matchups, Miami and Notre Dame have the same record. Miami beat them. So if Notre Dame gets in and Miami doesn't, then you're thinking, well, what about Miami? So there's always going to be somebody, that's not going to be happy. And that's just the way it is. But it's nice to see some fresh blood in the playoffs this year.
But I got to ask, because Notre Dame was ranked higher by these very same people. They fly in every week to the Gaylord Hotel in Grapevine, Texas. I'm sure they got a great buffet. They sit there, they meet, they look at tape, they kibitz about football. Sounds to me like a dream job, as a matter of fact.
Sounds like vacation.
Week after week, Notre Dame is ranked higher. So you're the Irish, and you're like, we're in. And then the very last Sunday comes, and they're like, now we're out? Why didn't they handle it better?
You're exactly right, and that's why Notre Dame is so upset. And then you kind of, touched on it. Notre Dame compounds the issue by saying, well, we're not going to go to any bowl game now, which I don't know if that's the correct solution or the way to get their message across. I kind of understand what they're saying, but boy, it's a bad look. For all of college football, because it's unfortunate, because I'm sure there's a lot of fans that would like to see Notre Dame play one more time. Granted, it wouldn't be in the college football playoffs, but still, it'd be a good bowl game. And even for the players that want to play and put something on tape to try to take their game to the next level.
Wait, Des, that's a really good point. Let's think about the seniors for a minute. I don't know who exactly, I'm sure there were certain people on the team, along with the coaching staff, were like, okay, we're going to take our ball and go home. But think about the seniors who thought, because their last game was 2 weeks ago. They didn't have a championship. At least we got one more game to put on the pads, put on the helmet, and play one last game of football. Now that's been taken away from them.
Yeah, I mean, how did they come to the decision? I would hope that the coaches, maybe that was the meetings. The coaches just sat down and asked the seniors, but because that's a big sacrifice to make. If this is your last year, that would have been your last game.
Yeah, it definitely had to go all the way up the chain because it's not only a lost opportunity for these players, but a lost opportunity to gain more fans, to get more revenue for the program, all that stuff. So that was a major decision. That's something that's unprecedented, and maybe it's something like this that has to happen for college football to say, okay, let's rethink this. Let's look it over. And that's, what a lot of people are saying about a lot of different facets in college athletics, whether it's the NIL, the transfer portal. It seems to be the wild, wild west right now. We need some kind of structure in all those facets.
Well, I can't wait to give us about another minute and we can talk about one of the plans that's out there. And I want to get from you whether you think it would work or wouldn't work, the pros and cons. But before we get to that, I believe it was the AD at Notre Dame, Richard, who said that our relationship with the ACC, because they were like, boot the Irish, we want Miami. The phrase I believe he used was irreparably damaged. Right. Is there a chance that really comes to an end and Notre Dame maybe, like many have speculated for a long time, will finally start to, whether they stay independent or not, at least start to embrace the Big Ten?
Yeah, absolutely. This was a major blow, and I think the reaction of Notre Dame is proof of that. But then again, a lot of people look at Notre Dame like, look, pick a conference already. You've been independent for so long, and you just kind of want to do what you do, but you got to be part of a structure if you want to be a part of the system at the same time.
All right, so let's talk about it. I happen to like the Tony Petitti model, which is, instead of letting this committee, I'm sure they're great people, but I understand Notre Dame's how upset they are because they're like, hey, it's week 5, you're above Miami. It's week 6, you're above you're always above Miami until the last week. So Tony Petitti at the Big Ten said, instead of this committee, these people who change every year, we're just going to settle it on the field. 1 will play 2. 3 plays 6 in the Big Ten, also in the Big 12, also in the SEC, and then 4 plays 5. So 1 and 2 are in, and the winner of the other championship weekend games, 3 versus 6, which would have been something like Oregon versus maybe Michigan or something, and then 4 plays 5. So you settle it on the field and you get your 4 automatic entries. Can that system work? What are the pros? What are the cons?
It makes way too much sense, Ron. There wouldn't be any controversy.
Richard.
How dare you make sense of this so quickly?
Right? Richard's like, what else would we talk about?
Well, what is the holdup? Why aren't they doing it?
Yeah, and it's like I was kind of touching on, there's so many different things in college athletics right now that don't make sense, and it could be simplified, like NIL, right? Where at least the NFL has a salary cap, the transfer portal, at least they have some free agency structure in the NFL and pro sports. At least now they're starting to close the windows of the transfer portal, make it one window, making one opportunity for a kid to transfer. But when this all happened, it just seemed like they just said, let's just do it. And it was almost like there was no planning. And then you got people, with the plan you just mentioned, said, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Why don't we go with that, or at least have an open and honest conversation about it?
What if Des and I were to pin you down right now, because they extended the deadline, it was supposed to be done December 1st, now it's got pushed into January. Do they go back next year to a 12 team, to a 16 team, or do they go with the Tony Petitti model of automatic qualifiers and you go all the way to 24?
I think they're going to go to a version of the Tony Petitti model, maybe 20, and it's going to get bigger and bigger each year, like the NCAA tournament. I think they're going to have to continue to adjust. It's a work in progress, as they say, and each year, hopefully, it gets better till they finally get it to, somewhat perfection. But I think every year, look at the NCAA tournament. I keep going back to that. Every year, there's somebody that says, hey, we should have got in, and now they even having playing games in that tournament. So I think every year they're going to have somebody to say, man, we should have been there. And I honestly think college athletics, the NCAA, likes it that way because, look, here we are days later after Selection Sunday, and we're still talking about it.
Yeah, It's a really good point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Sam Leavitt. I think that sent shockwaves, honestly, Des, through the whole valley. Maybe I'm making too big of a deal of it, Richard, but I think a lot of people think he's out of here. But don't you show up for your team banquet at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think it was a really weird weekend for Sun Devil Nation. A lot of people were really concerned. We got wind of Sam Levitt wanting to enter the transfer portal weeks ago, but we're like, look, the window doesn't open until January 2nd. It's a 15-day window, and he'll have that much time to commit to a new school, whoever enters the transfer portal. And one thing Kenny Dillingham has always said since day one, regardless of the player and the level of talent the player has, if they want to get in the transfer portal, by all means do it. I wish you the best of luck. And a lot of times when they'll announce they're going in the transfer portal, Kenny Dillingham will retweet that kid's tweet saying he's going to be a baller somewhere. This kid can play. And I think that's really admirable of Kenny Dillingham. And if you're a kid wanting to play college football and you see a coach support you even though you're not going to help him directly, that says a lot about who he is. And even Sam Levitt was still showing up to every practice, was showing up to, when he didn't have to. And for him to not show up to the football banquet on Sunday, that may, raise a major red flag. And then, of course, now, the hot topic is Sam Levitt will enter the transfer portal on January 2nd. And, it's unfortunate because he had such a great run here, and I think he really grew as a person and as a player here. And, I guess he thinks, look, I only got one more year to get my NFL resume, up to speed. And if I could go somewhere that maybe has a better O-line or a better offensive system that can, put me in better positions to succeed, then maybe I should do that. And that's his prerogative, right? That's his, this decision. And he has, every right to do that. And Kenny Dillingham has supported that from day one, and even said yesterday, look, I'm going to leave it up to him to decide and announce, when he'll enter the transfer portal, probably on the 2nd, but we support him either way. And Kenny Dillingham had a little bit of a smirk on his face. He said, don't worry, we're going to have a good quarterback here next year, no matter what. And he's right, because if you're a high school quarterback or even a college quarterback that thinks you can play and you're not getting a chance to play at the school you're at now, you want to come play for Kenny Dillingham when you see what he's done with Jeff Sims and Sam Levitt.
Yeah, and he's got to be thinking about his future ultimately. So, hey,
yes.
We wish him the best. Richard, always good seeing you, buddy.
Always great to see you guys, too. Good to be on with you guys. Anytime.
I need 15 more minutes with this guy.
Yeah, you need all day. Richard,
don't get me started. I'll talk sports with you all day long.
You're the best.
See you then. One of my favorite people in the world. All right, Mystery Cam time. Put your guesses in.
Well, we wrapped up with Richard, and only now are we really getting a chance to stare at the mystery cam. For those of you who are watching on YouTube for the very first time, we have this worldwide audience, Des. We do this every morning at 11:45 Phoenix time. We pop up a camera somewhere in this great country of ours, or it could be overseas. We do have pictures.
Yeah, we have cameras all over
the place. We know they have a McDonald's. They have a nice little shopping district. I'm thinking this is like a fancy outlet mall because it's the Gap. Mm-hmm. You see the Gap?
You like Gap? You think that's fancy?
Well, I mean, is Gap not fancy? Are they? Okay, let's rank them. Probably. I mean, where are they compared to Old Navy, which is fancier?
I guess the Gap.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a tough one. They're kind of like one and the same, aren't they?
Okay. I always put in my...
I was thinking like designer, like Chanel,
correct.
Dior.
I know. I always put myself in your husband David's shoes. I'm like, would David know the difference between Old Navy and the Gap?
No.
See, thank you.
Nope,
okay, there you go. I feel fine now. Anyway, thank you for your guesses. Brandon is saying Georgia. Let's see what else you see in there, Des.
Jenna thinking it might be South Carolina.
Nice.
That's a good guess.
And I see Louie guessing North Carolina.
Where are you thinking?
And Frankie D is seeing possible
Jenna,
Tennessee.
Gap would be a little fancier, right? I guess, right? I suppose.
Okay, you guys totally
Frankie,
rip me. I don't care. I'm the last guy in the valley who's never been to IKEA, and now I kind of wear it like as a badge.
You've never been? So now you're not going? Or
look at this.
Are you still going to hold out?
Hold on. It's time for a Bella Bomb. Did you hear that right there? What'd you say, Bella?
To go to IKEA.
I know.
It's so fun.
Dave, have you been to IKEA?
Yeah, of course.
How many times?
I'm probably several.
Let's go.
Okay, well, still haven't been to...
I must admit, I've only been to the one here in the Valley once.
I'm not even sure I've been to the Gap.
Oh, my gosh.
Anyway, we're getting a little ahead of
who
ourselves.
does the shopping in his house?
That's for sure. Boy, I mean, I get home from a long day at work, and I'll put a football game on, and I'll fall asleep, and that's the rest of my day.
I really don't know, you guys. I only won.
Hold on.
For the very first time yesterday.
It looks sort of oceany, kind of maritime-y. Okay, Virginia. I think I'm gonna go. I'm just thinking about you guys. I think I'm gonna go with Louie, who said North Carolina. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here she is.
All right, and we are both wrong.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It is Simpsonville, Kentucky.
Oh, is that right? It's nowhere close to an ocean. Why do I see that and I think it's ocean?
Well, maybe like way out because I don't know, the sky.
You know what it is, Des?
A little bit, maybe.
What else happens in Kentucky?
What?
The Kentucky Derby. And those little pergolas on top look like what you see at Churchill Downs for the Kentucky Derby. Now I get it.
Okay, yeah.
We learn every day, don't we?
Well, now we won't be stumped by this one again.
Yeah.
We'll get it next time.
Okay, so the list is out of the most stressed out cities in America. And, hold on, this is going to be VO4.
That would be stressful if you lived in a dark
here
hole.
we go. Now, okay, VO5, stand by. And nope. So this is what stresses me out.
That would be terrifying if you lived there. There's nothing.
It would be. Well, the list is out, and New York is number one on the list. Des, what do you think?
No, I was not surprised.
Yeah.
Right? Were you? Overall, no, I was not really surprised by this.
Yeah.
And it took different things into consideration when factoring the most stressful cities.
Yes.
Some of those being the commute, how difficult the commute would or would not be.
Right.
Cost of living.
Yep.
Safety. Air quality. Yeah, you're probably not breathing the best air in New York City, right?
Right.
Not underground in the subway, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless you like all those interesting smells.
Yeah. The thing that really did kind of surprise me a little bit was that Dublin was number 2 on the list. I've been there. It doesn't seem like a stressed out city, but maybe it is.
I've never been there.
Yeah.
What was your experience like?
There's a pub on every corner. Can that be the most stressed out city in the second most?
I guess that depends on how you look at it. It could be the most fun city, or that's a sign of the stress, I guess, that folks feel.
Maybe so. Well, anyway, let's see what else is on the list here is
Mexico City
City and Milan and London. And
I believe Mexico City, things like crime, they took into consideration
that's
there.
true.
There's a lot of crime, and it's very heavily populated, so that was a factor as well.
Canberra, Australia, which I believe is the capital of that great country, is low stress, super low stress. It's one of those places that they said, we're going to build a capital and we're going to build a new city. And so it's just kind of out there. Mm-hmm. And so it's very low key.
Oh, nice.
Everybody has government jobs. I mean, what's the stress about, right?
Yeah, those are pretty. Never mind.
Okay, so we've both been really looking forward to our interview. We want to introduce to you Suma Hodge Varpila.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, for sure. And we really wanted to, we have a lot, I think we have a lot of parents that watch us here on our program, and we thought maybe you could give some, especially here as we're entering the holidays, but I think there are just a lot of questions right now. We see, diagnoses of people on the spectrum. We know that ADHD is out there. It's not going away. But in your practice, what are the kinds of things that you've learned that maybe can offer a little bit of hope to parents?
Yes, absolutely. So as ADHD and those who are on the spectrum disorder, they're having a lot more difficulty, especially around the holidays, like you mentioned, but just adjusting to different changes in their routine is a hard part for them. And when we're seeing in meltdowns and we're having temper tantrums and things of that sort, sometimes parents are mixing up those two aspects of things, or sensory overload, right? And so we want to redirect the behavior, and instead of just meeting a meltdown, which is more of like a feelings that we're having, emotions are just super large at that moment, and meeting that with more of a compassion approach and addressing those feelings.
And what is the difference? So we have a tantrum, the meltdown, and sensory overload.
Yes.
Explain the difference, and how do we identify which is which?
That's a good question, especially when you have our younger youth, 3, 4, 5 years old. They have more of the difficulties, and the temper tantrums we look at as more of tangible. So there's something that they want to get. Either you being told
the
no,
toy, the cookie.
You're telling no, or you can't have this, not right now. So you're having the tantrums.
Okay,
and then you have the meltdowns. The meltdowns are the emotional side of things, right? So it's something that's going on inside them that they're having these really big feelings that they're just not understanding, and they're feeling overwhelmed. So they're crying, and they're not usually consolable, right? Because they're just so upset. And then you have a sensory overload, and that's more so the brain's receptors are taking in information and feelings of that's surrounding them. So there's lights, there's noises, things like that are interrupting their sensory, and the brain is just feeling overwhelmed. So the brain itself is having a hard time to shut down or to decipher what I should be taking in and what I shouldn't. And so when you are not realizing which ones they are having at that time, sometimes parents can respond in a way that does not get the favorable behavior or response that they're looking for. So when you're having a tantrum, it's more about the boundaries, right? You're setting clear boundaries, redirecting them. And when they're having the meltdowns, you want to appeal to more of their compassion side. So you want to feel for them, hug them, give them that reassurance at that time. Like, I understand that you're having these big feelings. And then when you're having a sensory overload, the best thing to do is try to remove the sensory issue as much as possible. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that may be easily done, or sometimes it's in an environment, so you have to remove the child from that space at that time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if you're addressing them appropriately, you're going to get a better response from their behavior and hopefully have it die down sooner than sometimes they can last longer.
Okay, what damage are we doing if we are addressing the meltdown incorrectly or the tantrum incorrectly? Are we harming them in the long run? Like, let's say if we're disciplining when they're having like this emotional breakdown, but we can't figure it out, and we just disciplined them, sent them to the corner.
I know.
Are we doing like long lasting damage?
Yes. In a short answer, yes. Because when you are disciplined in a meltdown, you're not teaching them how to understand the feelings that they're having. So you're teaching them to suppress them, or you're teaching them that their feelings and their emotions are wrong, right? And that's what we want to avoid. We want them to express it in a healthy way. And for you to do that in that moment and say, hey, I know you're upset. Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling angry, right? And helping them to understand them and to express it in the best way, right? And so even with my little one, when she was younger, and she would have meltdowns and be so emotional, and I would say, what's going on right now? And she was like, I need a hug. And okay. So I was teaching them, and then she has a therapist for mom. So there's a little bit different, but it's teaching them in those moments. So us as parents have to just understand, if I'm having a temper tantrum and that looks like that, is it because they want something from you, or are they trying to grab something from you, or is it because you told them no? Meltdowns is because I need your attention, I need your love, I need your affection right now, and I'm feeling sad and overwhelmed with these feelings, and I need you to do something about it. Help me to feel better. So if we pay attention to those, you can reduce the long-term effects. And of course, the sensory too will help if you are realizing that they're having sensory overload, such as using headphones during big games, events, things like that, where it'll be super noisy for them. We can use those kind of things to help diminish the outbursts that they may have, which may lead into a meltdown or into a temper tantrum.
Here's a situation I heard about not long ago where the moms get involved. Let's say it's over the holidays and a couple of boys are getting on each other, and each mom is defending her child to the other one, and there's some finger pointing going on, and like, don't you tell me how to deal with my child. That was more your. How do you deal with that kind of family interrelationship that you know is going to be happening because here come the holidays?
Absolutely. So the dynamic is going to be difficult, especially around the holidays, and individuals who may not have already been around your child throughout the year, knowing that they may have these difficulties with anxiety or difficulties with ADHD or on the spectrum. Family members who are only gathered around these certain parts of the year, and therefore they're not going to be able to be prepared on how to address and how to support your child during that time. So it's up for you as a parent of that child who has the needs is to make sure that you remain calm at that moment, because the kid is going to look at you to determine how I need to respond. And because I'm already having these emotions and these feelings, I'm going to overstimulate and overreact in some cases because I'm upset because now I see that my mom or my parent is upset, right? And so you have to be able to be the one that remain calm and explain to them what's going on. Why is your child responding this way? That will help to reduce and diminish, right? And it also teaches the children how to have a little bit more compassion and a little bit more tolerance to someone who may be a little bit different from them. And so the holidays are definitely a more challenging time because the child is also around people they're not used to.
Yeah.
Right.
Boy, that's such a good point. Yeah. It's like, even though your emotions might be running high, you got to put your child first because they're watching how you're responding and with the whole situation. It's a really good point.
And you're the regional clinical director of mentally ill kids in distress. It's a Valley nonprofit, right? Yes. And I like you also focus on the parent too, right?
Oh, yes.
Sometimes the parent, you're doing your best and you just don't know. So you have parental support as well.
Oh, absolutely. We are a family-ran organization. So what that means is that our organization focuses a lot on the peer support aspect of things. So our families work with their family support partner who has already experienced the difficulties of having a child that may have had needs that are beyond their control, right? So we've learned how to navigate the system. We've already learned how to advocate for our child. And so now we are coming in and teaching the family, all the families. So that could be
Love it.
Parents,
We have to support the family unit.
Yeah,
so how do we get in touch with you?
Oh, yes.
10 seconds.
My Kid is, you can go online and reach us at MyKid, so MIKID.org. And you can reach out to there and send us over an email, and someone will be reaching out to you as soon as possible to discuss what the needs are.
Perfect. Thank you, Suma.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suma. That was amazing.